First up, I'm going to invite our moderator for this panel, making a comeback on the stage. Please put your hands together for Leslie, everybody. Welcome, Leslie, and give me one quick moment. I'm going to quickly make my way back to the stage and ask you, Leslie, are you set for this conversation? Yes, okay, Leslie has something. Okay, we've got a hard stop here. Okay, going ahead, let's invite our panelists on stage. Mohit Kapoor, Group CTO, Mahindra Group. Gobind Jain, CFO, IndusInd Bank. Rajkamal Vempati, President and Head Human Resources, Axis Bank. Rishi Aurora, Managing Partner, India, South Asia, IBM Consulting. And we're going to keep this conversation crisp and brief. Leslie, over to you.
Thank you, Zinia. You know, typically you may be wondering why the lady is sitting at their far end. It's just because Rajkamal has a hard stop at 6:30 and she will have to excuse herself from the panel. So I promised her, so please do not, there's no kind of bias out here. So folks, actually I'm going to start with you, Rajkamal, without much ado, because I think people know the context of this entire panel, where we are talking about, you know, responsibly scaling up AI. Now, when we speak about, you know, the human resources department is one of the crucial kind of departments where we are talking about, you know, challenges like whether it's bias while looking at the resume, whether ageism could be a bias, or there could be many other kind of things. But first, let us start with a few, you know, a couple of opportunities that you see out here, how GenAI has helped you streamline things in the HR department, then we can talk a little bit on the challenges.
I can, you know, so maybe let me just step back. Human resource department is about Vyavhar typically. Everybody is about Vyapar. And there is no Vyapar without Vyavhar. And the beauty is GenAI is making inroads in the wonderful space of Vyavhar, right? Even in human resources, and I'm surprised, you know, we talk about content generation. We have, all of us have big learning teams and we are looking at how to learn, rescale, upscale, etc. Typically, and I'm just giving a simple example, like content generation, creation would take 2 months to get the syndication done, understand what needs to be done, learning objectives, so that it's 2 months. With GenAI, believe you me, we've reduced it to 20 minutes.
Wow.
20 minutes. With all these, you know, SOP, especially process, etc. It's 20 minutes, flat. So, huge productivity gains, but there's a lot of learning. And I like what he said. You know, we start sometimes using technology for the sake of using technology. Oh, this is the new fad. This is the new flavor of the season. This is the new item number. And then we say, okay, let's figure out the use cases. Fundamentally, we need to say, what is the problem that we are trying to solve? And if you go deep down, the POCs will stick, scale up, the pilots will be successful, and definitely productivity gains will happen. And also, the objective should be about problem, not cost. Not about other things, right? It should be an enabler. From a hiring perspective, we know increasingly in the world, we know, like computers, when it happened, we said, oh, computers will replace. Then we said, no, we need people who know computer skills. GenAI is also like that. We need people who know GenAI skills. As far as all the, you know, we've done in HR, we've done talent marketplace, we are trying to do something. See, I would say more the traditional AI was more bias prone. Because you were looking at predictive models and past experiences, past data, and that's what you're trying to propagate, which is not okay in an inclusive setup, and you want a little bit of diversity as well. With GenAI, more than bias, I would say it's hallucinations I'm worried about. And we need to think about guardrails. And one of the ways that we are looking at is in selection, when you get the CV screened a certain way, you get the feedback, and we are trying to validate it. And we are going a little slower on the screening process because you don't want to get into something and then realize that you're perpetuating a certain clone in a certain template. And if you're looking at internal talent marketplace in a different way, we are also saying how do you bring the diversity of experiences and skills. The third area that I think we should look at from a structure perspective, and I'm just, even though you didn't ask, is having someone, I completely agree, a dedicated team who's looking at it responsibly. Because, you know, actually we're talking about downstream problems. The upstream problems are the ones that we need to have view on. A lot of time even in our organization, we spend time, what kind of AI, what kind of models, privacy, responsibility, privacy, especially given the servers are elsewhere, we have to think, especially as regulated entities, we have those questions to be. So think risk first when you're scaling it up. If you have the answers and somebody looking at it, things will be easier. Future is interesting for HR professionals. We have lots of skills that we need to hire people from, for even in training. What can I say about other organizations? In training, one of the things that we're looking at is, you know, this, I'm calling them learning anthropologists, who are looking at behaviors, journeys, etc. Because for you to ask the better prompts, you need to know what's happening in the journey of the person. So newer skills will emerge. And I would say, you know, prompt engineers, anyways, there's an article in Mint today that prompt engineers are demanding. So every few years, somebody comes in and demands, and you say, I missed the bus. I just landed in HR. But I think there are so many courses out there. We can all upskill ourselves and reskill ourselves and become the prompt engineers that we always wanted to be.
So I'm sure if you had stuck around, you would have plenty of questions from the audience. I won't say that you're spared of it, but I guess because of your time. But I love the comparison that you made, Vyavhar and Vyapar. So that was pretty interesting. Mohit, my question to you is basically, what's your, company's broad GenAI kind of vision out here?
So I think we have a predominant Indian audience, so I don't need to explain the Mahindra Group. I think for us, this is the decade of the AI in many ways. And it started before GenAI became, known by everyone a year ago. But right when 2000 started, we've been on it. You can imagine connected cars are safer and are preventing accidents. And with XUV700 we launched 3 years ago. It is a perfect example. I drive that car. It's able to see somebody crossing the road before I'm able to see it. And that's a boon in many ways. Precision agriculture, if you're able to help a farmer get more from the acreage of land, with AI models, we are able to advise farmers what to plant, when to harvest, how to irrigate, and what pesticide to do topically, so that you don't spray pesticide all over, where to spray it using drones. Similarly, in Mahindra Finance, how to lend responsibly and make collections efficiency better. I'm sure there are other banking people as well in the stage later. They can talk more about it. Similarly, in used cars, which is Mahindra First Choice, being able to give a deal to somebody by looking at high quality photographs of tires and battery and the bodywork. Also, lots of innovation within manufacturing. We are predominantly a manufacturing company. We have 16 factories all over the world, and most of them in India. And within manufacturing, lots of testing, painting of the surface, energy saving, so also sustainability. You can imagine it's a very energy intensive job to make automobiles. So how to use AI models to save energy. So that's been the journey for the last many years, especially since last year we took an early bet on GenAI. I see 4 clusters of GenAI which we've been successfully scaled up. One is around customer service with a human in the loop. How can our customer service agents on live chat or on live call give better advice to the customer and help them, whether it's a query or sales and marketing, could be any of that. Second is technical, and this has worked very well for us. You can imagine machines in factories which have large manuals written in German, English, any other language. And what we've been able to do is get all the machine manuals and all the 10 years of log of how a particular problem may have been addressed on the shop floor. And this is available to all the shop engineers and supervisors. They can quickly put in the error code or put in what they're seeing as a symptom and get a result. Also equipping our service centers, which are run by dealers, which service automobiles with GenAI powered troubleshooting. And you can imagine a lot of calls are logged in saying, "Aage khat khat awaaz aa rahi hai." Right, that's all. That's how the call is logged.
Just
And
a minute.
yeah.
Okay, please give her a big hand.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much.
So these things, so the power of GenAI and the unlock isn't humanly possible. It is not just digital. So this knowledge base of repairing cars has been available digitally and searchable. But you cannot search on khat khat awaaz. Because when you say khat khat awaaz, it gives you 30 knowledge articles. And as a supervisor of a service center, you read all 30 articles to find out which one is yours. But in the conversational manual of GenAI, it'll ask you, have you checked the shockers? Have you checked the bonnet, whatever, right? And it gets to the solution so that the customer promised time of returning your car after service on the same day. Most likely, if you give the car in the morning, by evening, I should give it back to you. Minus the khat khat awaaz, right? So these kind of use cases, which are in technical areas, and technology, of course, on coding and sales and marketing, analysis and analytics as well in finance. So we've been able to, fast track the work. And for doing all this, we've developed our in-house platform called Mahindra AI, which is multi-model. It has many of the models available as a model garden. And then based on whether it's structured data or text, the model is chosen and then gives the right solution. So that's where we are. I think the journey is only starting up because with images, video capability, we'll be able to unlock a lot more. Imagine a dealership where a broken spare part is there of a car. You can just take a photo. It should tell you what part number it is, where is the stock lying, if it's not with you, which other dealer, and instantly. Currently, it takes a lot of time where you have to figure out, look at the manual, figure out what part number is. Also, it's not intuitive to know that this tractor part in this UO model also works in a GITO model. Right? They're two different kind of tractors. It's not intuitive, but a GenAI model will tell you or can tell you there's this reusable part. So lots of these things which we thought would take years to accomplish on using the traditional AI or AI have been fast-tracked with GenAI. So that's been our journey. So I think just three words. If data is available, accessible, and actionable, then we apply AI on it. Whether it's traditional or GenAI, that can be decided later. But all that is fair game. And 3 areas to focus on: customer centricity, sustainability, and innovation. So we're focusing those. ROI will come or is coming. Of course, that lens is important. Govind will talk about that lens shortly before he approves my use cases. But absolutely, that's where we're going. Thank you.
Interesting, and you gave a lot of specific examples also, and that I think helps a lot to understand how GenAI is actually being applied. We have heard an HR kind of perspective. We have heard the IT perspective, the CTO, CIO perspective. Now the interesting part is hearing the perspective of a person who holds the purse strings for GenAI. So here we have a CFO sitting with us, that of a highly regulated bank. I mean, all banks are highly, the whole BFSI sector. So Gobind Jain, who is the CFO of IndusInd Bank, he's with us, and I've had an interesting conversation with him before this. So Gobind, you could tell our audience, in a sense, when we talk about GenAI, when people come and approach, the CIO, the CTO, absolutely the CMO, the CDOs, everybody just comes to you and asks for money for this new emerging technology. What is your perspective? Are you as excited as all of them? What are the hard questions that you ask?
Definitely, means the power of GenAI is unlimited, provided you have got the necessary data to feed it. So if you have captured the data, I think it has application in every field you can think of, be it your customer interaction. So if you have all the customer related data, you can improve on the customer interactions and tailor-made your products according to the customer needs. Your call center can be replaced with GenAI, which can make a call to customer based on the specific requirements, how they are interacting with the bank, what kind of transactions they are doing. They can call back and understand if they are facing any problem. And when you build that empathy into Gen AI, it's a amazing customer experience. Then we get a lot of information getting generated every day. So AI can work behind the scene for our cybersecurity, data protection, fraud detection. So any anomaly happening in the system, once you have created that kind of logic or algorithm, system can online track whether any unusual activity is happening anywhere. Then you got all sort of application. You can have interaction with regulation, lot of information we generate every day for submission to RBI, SEBI or everywhere. So that information, once it goes through Gen AI, it can start finding out how accurate your data is, whether there are inconsistencies in reporting, it can immediately identify. Even for debt recoveries, you can customize your AI accordingly. HR, as Rajkamal mentioned, lot of application there. Within technology itself, you can improve the technology through Gen AI. So everybody now, see, we have got limitation of budget, how much we can spend. So everybody competes for the same resource. So only thing is, what is the philosophy of organization? How does it want to tread this kind of journey? And what is the problem statement? And what is it where it wants to have kind of long-term plan? We can't think of in a short-term, 1 year kind of thing. And second, now technology is all changing. Every day, something new will come up. Now, Gen AI has become fad, something else may come tomorrow. So you have to have kind of calculated investment. So one, take care of immediate needs, and second, you are prepared for the scalability of that technology.
I think very valid points, I mean, in a sense from a CFO perspective, because these are important things. Rishi, in your case, you are talking to multiple CXOs across sectors. So what are you gathering from your conversations? And, are they clear about, when that transitions happens from, say, classical or discriminative AI to your generative AI?
So what I'm going to talk about, and what I've heard, right, what I'm gathering from these conversations, an HR view, a tech view, CFO view, it resonates, it will resonate pretty well. And I'm going to quote from, some research, right? So IBM conducts this research, right? IBM's Institute of Business Value, right? And when we talk to chief execs across organizations, right, about 90% of them say that they want adoption. They want their directs to ensure adoption of AI in their organizations. I'm hearing the same from, across departments, be it HR, be it finance, be it technology, right? So adoption of, adoption of AI. Then when we talk to the execs in these, in these organizations, 85% of these execs believe that their customers, end of the day, we are in business for our customers, right? 85% of the execs believe their customers either have embarked on these journeys or will start using AI in some shape or form over the next 2 years, right? So, adoption of Gen AI is key. Now let me talk about, how do you really start adopting AI, right? First, what do you really need to adopt AI, right? Let me first start by talking about what Rajkamal spoke, HR, right? So one is, most importantly, I think people are going to drive adoption of AI. So how do you upskill your people, right? And by upskilling, I don't only mean technical upskilling, right? You need to ensure that AI is not only productive for your organization, you have to have, it has to be creative, right? How do you drive innovation across your organization? But most importantly, according to me, it has to be ethical, right? How do you really trust the models, trust the outcomes of these models, right? So, AI has to be ethical. So one, investment in the people, and second is investment in technology, right? Right investment in technology, right? I think that's going to drive adoption of AI. Then it's all about use cases, right? It's all about a return of investment. AI can be used across organizations, but what are those use cases, right? Mohit spoke a lot about his customers, right? Mahindra's customers, right? So I believe there is a huge use case around the front end, if I can say, around customer experience, around customer servicing. The points which Mohit spoke about, right, is all about enhancing customer service and customer experience, right? So there are huge use cases around the front end or the customer experience bit. Gobind spoke a lot about, the risk part of it, right? And in the financial services industry, compliance is a must. There are tons of regulations which all of us need to follow, right? So use cases around risk and compliance, right? Again, huge use cases around risk and compliance. In IBM, again, Rajkamal spoke about HR, right? In IBM, we have, talent transformation, if I can call it, right? We have implemented, we call it Ask HR in our organization, but we have implemented Ask HR across IBM, right? And I'm pretty proud to say that, 94% of our responses using Ask HR, right, have met with the desired results, right? So there are huge use cases around talent transformation. Again, there are use cases around, anything which is very heavy on process, right? Operations side of things, right? So operations efficiency, if I can call it. How do you, again, Govind spoke about a lot of automation, right? So there are use cases around, operations efficiency, right? So if I can just summarize, 2023 was the year where you were seeing a lot of proof of concepts happening. Sandeep spoke about that. He said we across the globe about 700 POCs, but I think we are at the cusp of AI making real impact to business in 2024, and all the data, all the research which we have done points that 2024 is going to deliver real benefits from AI.
Thanks, Rishi. So clearly, I mean, this is the kind of a common refrain that 2024 year is the year for generative AI. But in this context also, Mohit, I would like you to, touch upon a little of the challenges. I know that Rishi has spoken a lot about the use cases that are already there, where they have address some of these challenges. But in your particular case now, you're the conglomerate. So you are dealing with finance, with agriculture, with multiple kind of business units. Is there kind of a responsible AI framework that you have, that encompasses all these, addresses all these challenges?
Yeah. So I think out of the responsible AI, ethical AI, and explainable AI, we are focusing most on the explainable AI. Responsible and ethics, I think everybody follows as a company. That's the hallmark of the Mahindra Group, and I'm sure for other companies equally. In the explainable AI side, we are ascertaining that three things: hallucinations, copyright infringement, and data confidentiality is taken care of. And that's why we got forced to develop the Mahindra AI container, which is a one-way container on the cloud, where you can upload in the container any Mahindra document without any risk, which you can't do on the open AI. Right? So the whole idea of Mahindra AI is that you can safely upload HR documents, finance documents, design of new cars, could be anything for that matter. You can decide whether it's only visible to you, or it's visible to your colleagues in your department, or it's visible across departments. All that is okay. You can set all that. Then you apply a model on it from the model garden, depending on whether it's structured data, image data, unstructured data. And when you apply the model, it's a one-way street where the intelligence of the model is coming in from the cloud, but you're applying it local. The insights are stored only locally. After you end your search or your query, it's gone. Right? You can copy, if you want, and keep the proceeds, the insights, only for yourself. So the whole approach of doing Mahindra AI was to use GenAI models on local knowledge, which we already have. Because for a company as big as ours, which is so diversified, other than helping the customer, helping each other, itself drives so much efficiency and better customer experience. So that's been the focus. And also, I think, being real and authentic. So last year, we were trying to do a metaverse rollout for our real estate arm, right? Which solved the real problem that when you buy a real estate apartment, normally all the show apartments are on the ground floor. And you have to imagine how it will look if you were on the 22nd floor, right? So when we were solving this problem in the metaverse, we had to spend lots of money in actually taking drone shots because I don't want to make it look extra appealing. When you took the metaverse experience in that building, which I'm yet to hand over to you in 2 years, to show that it's all green, it may not be. And there may be a railway line, there may be an ugly whatever, right? So that's explainable and responsible both. That if you're doing a metaverse, it's not the playverse. It is a real customer. And you are showing it to the customer. So is true for Mahindra Holidays. That if we are doing any metaverse, which we are, for our resorts, then it is actual rendering of the real resorts. So you have to figure out why you're doing it. I think somebody often spoke about already that we shouldn't take this as a solution looking for a problem. Right? So GenAI is not a solution looking for a problem, it's the other way around. That what are the problems to solve? And then apply AI or GenAI for it.
In this context, there's also a quick follow-up question, which I'm going to ask Gobind also. First I'll ask you, is basically a lot of GenAI proof of concepts, they're basically being run as pilots today. How many of these POCs are being scaled up? And if they're not being scaled up, or if there's a kind of a reluctance to scale it up, why exactly is that happening? Or if they're being scaled up faster, what is working for them?
So I think in the internal use cases, almost 40% are getting scaled up. We set a very tight criteria when we start the POC to say what is the entry criteria, what is the exit criteria, and what are we going to save, so that we're not just playing with it, because the Play Sandbox is available to everyone. So if you want to POC yourself, you can go to Mahindra AI, go to the sandbox, and do it yourself with your team. You don't need to come to me. But if you come to me, then we put a parsing model, we'll put an ethics model, everything, a governance model around it, but that comes with the entry criteria. It's not very costly, but it's serious. And in such case, 40-50% or higher than 40% internally have become industrial.
That's a good number.
On the customer side, we haven't done too many. We are equipping and giving a co-pilot to the call center agents, but customer facing, I think we've done only a couple. And that's the area we are treading with caution. But internally, I think there's so much to unlock for a large group like ours. So that's our focus for now.
Okay. And probably what's helping is also that a company like IBM is probably indemnifying you against certain copyrights.
That's true.
I can see a smile on Sandeep's face. Okay. Gobind, the same question to you. Are you seeing these as just, because as I said, you hold the purse strings. So maybe those who speak about technology or have that technology bias have probably a different perspective. What about you? You're in a highly regulated sector, hallucinations, copyright violations, misinformation. All these could mean not only losing customer, it could mean plenty of legal suits.
Yeah. So I think biggest capability of these technologies is they can process a lot of information. There is no limit to what you can do, and you can also set the precision levels also to reduce the cost. So that's the advantage of these technologies. So be it copyright, so that Gen AI behind the scene can keep on sorting through the content which you have created or which you find in the media which is appearing, and trying to find out is there any mishap happening somewhere. So that's the biggest advantage today with GI is there. But I will say it is still evolving. In financial sector, it started with chat bots and virtual assistants. But if you look at many organizations, they are at different levels. Some of them have implemented basics. So you start doing a chat and somewhere you run into wall. The other bot says, I don't understand now what you are trying to say. And after that, what? You start again the conversation, try to look for the, again, another option which is similar to your problem. There are organizations which have gone beyond that, where you run the query in others, and the bot really understands what's happening. So that's kind of, I'll say, different levels of, in the continuum, everybody is in this technology journey.
Rishi, again, you have been dealing with multiple CXOs, again, multiple sectors, so you have seen all kinds of sectors. Are there any areas where you have seen this reluctance to sort of, jump onto the GenAI bandwagon?
I will not call it reluctance, but I think what are the challenges?
What is scaring them?
Yeah, what are the challenges which the industry is facing on adoption, and how do we really overcome those challenges, right? Those challenges are around, if I can call it data privacy. How do you be on the right side of regulations? At least the financial services industry is highly regulated. How do you really avoid biases? See, it is extremely important, the outcomes which you are getting from the models, right? Those outcomes need to be trusted, right? So for AI to be successful, I would say trust is a must, right? You need to trust those, you need to trust those models, right? Organizations are at different stages of adoption. I would say one, the maturity of the organization, right? Some organizations may be ahead in their, in their journey of AI adoption. Most importantly, right, organizations which are, I spoke about regulations, which are heavily regulated, right? Their journey on, Gen AI adoption would vary from organizations which are not heavily regulated, right? But at the center of all this, according to me, are elements around, one is data, right? How do you, where is the data originating from? Who is owning that data? How is the data, kind of evolving, right? So you need to, data is at the heart of any kind of AI model, right? So, how do you really trust that data? I would say the second bit is around, and Mohit alluded to that, right? Around the explainability, right? See, when you are getting these outcomes, right? You have to be able to explain those outcomes, right? So I would say the models need to be explainable and transparent, right? That will be the mantra behind the success of these AI models. Again, at IBM, Sandeep spoke about the elements of Watson, but it is how, how do you, the governance around, all of these models, right? How do you put a governance mechanisms around these models, and what's the next governance, kind of enables you to do that, right? So I would say these are the challenges which we need to, kind of overcome, data governance, right? To ensure that, AI journeys in organizations are successful.
We can take a couple of questions from the audience. Yes, please. If you can identify yourself, that will be nice. And if you're addressing the question to any specific panelist, that will help. Yes, please. Please help the gentleman with the mic. Just give him another mic, please. Sorry for the tech hassles. Do you have a loud voice?
Yeah, let's try.
Oh, you do have a loud one.
Question I unnatural anxiety, which they would have had they had a human interface, whether it's using a financial services product, whether it's using an airline product, whether it's actually going through a experience, not just a customer care kind of a thing, but actually a business process experience. The moment there's an AI function on the other side, they have an unnatural anxiety to one, approach the product, avoid the product, not use the product, fearful of an incorrect result. That's one part of the question. There's a part B to the question, is that very often as a customer, I don't want a digital result. I want an analog result, right? You can't solve the problem for me, but you can tell me that, look, sir, I'll get back to you. I'll speak to my senior. I'll come back in a week's time. Why don't you take a 30% discount and close the solution? These are analog results. These are not digital results. AI seems to suggest that, we are going to achieve this digital supremacy of a solution, whereas a lot of customers in Mahindra Holidays, for example, right, they look for an analog result. So my room was dirty, and you say, yeah, we'll get that fixed, but why don't we do this for you?
Okay, let's take the question first. It's getting yes, please.
Okay, so do customers have unnatural anxiety? I think as society and as an industry, and I would say this on, I think majority of our industries have matured. Manu, right? Yeah, Manu. I think our majority of our industries have matured. See, it is all about how well these, these models are responding, right? We are implementing AI or we are executing proof of concepts, many discussions happening in, across sectors, right? Across industries, right? So, in majority of the cases, what we have kind of seen is that I would say near 100%, if I can say that, right? I think responses are acceptable to clients. In some cases where you need some kind of interaction, right? Even when I quoted the example, for example, I quoted, we use Ask HR in our own organization. Yet, I would say 94% of our responses are, I said 94% of our responses are solved, in a straightforward way. 6% of the responses need some kind of, interactions with people kind of thing, right? So I would say a simple answer to your question, I think as an industry we have matured. It all depends on how well these models are designed, right? And in majority of the cases, I don't see customers having that anxiety, but you have to close the journey. In the sense, if there is some kind of an interaction needed, right? How do you logically close that journey if there is a get back which is required? And in some cases, there may be a get back which is required. You have to logically have a closure on that journey.
I think Mohit wants to add.
Yeah, I want to add two things. I think preferences are changing. My son is 25. He has anxiety trusting people and getting advice from people. He's a gamer, and he's very, very conversant with, he'll trust the AI more. Now, I don't know whether his future is bright or not, but we leave that aside. That's one. Second, I think human in the loop is the right way because the AI bot lacks empathy. So I absolutely agree with you. And that's why our approach, at least in Mahindra Group, is about equipping the sales agent, call center agent, service agent with better advice and empowerment to say option 1, option 2, option 3. So on the dirty room, like you talked about, right? If somebody is complaining about dirty room, you have to be empathetic to start with before you disregard somebody, which depending on the mood of the call center agent and the training and the time of the day may end up, without prompting, may end up with not a great result or great experience. So the idea is how do we equip our people, our colleagues, a lot better to be empathetic and to solve your problem. That's our attempt. And I think in that attempt, it is surely making human beings better. So super smart agents don't get better with GenAI. Mediocre agents become a lot better with GenAI. So I'm trying to move the company up. I'm not trying to remove expertise. The company across the group is dependent on lots of experts, and we have many of them across the group, not just a thin layer. Many, many thousands of people across the group are very, very smart. They have expertise. But it can't be a universal trait. AI is helping us, and in software development, I'm seeing it every day, right? So my software developers, the average coders, all of them have gone up. And the expert coders, they don't worry about AI. They don't even use it because it's so good. I don't need to ask them about their productivity. And it's happening all over. So that's the way I would look at it, Manu.
Great. So thank you, Mohit. Any further questions? We can take it offline with the thing. So thank you, Rishi. Thank you, Gobind. Thank you, Mohit.
Thank you for inviting us.
A little bit of healthy anxiety is good, I guess, at this point in time. Oh, okay.
The LLMs really help. So when virtual assistant you start interacting there, it depends upon what you have set up. So the moment they recognize a particular word, room is not clean, all these, they immediately can respond also. So you need not necessarily go through a fixed menu also sometimes.
So probably we can feed them with anxiety is good. Anyway, so thank you for being a patient audience. Thank you very much. Please go ahead.